You've been telling me just now that you feel that climate change and gender is as much a matter of human rights as anything else. Why so?
Well, if you look at what really has to happen here, you have to go all the way from the treaty process, which is at a very high level, down to personal choice. And the distance between having a treaty tell you what needs to be done and me making a decision to recycle or to buy a particular energy efficient product is huge. And so what is it that's going to get us there? I really feel as though it's not just women paying attention to women, because that's sort of a scientifically sound thing to do. It's much more about how you get that done. So when you implement a law, for example, if you don't respect human rights in the process, you're not going to get the kind of participation from women, you're not going to get the kind of sound results from women that you can get if you're looking at a human rights perspective.
Much is made of the political and economic aspects of climate change. Do you feel that focusing more on values and human rights could give you some added value, or could give everyone some added value in terms of communicating its dangers?
Well, in fact, I'm not sure it's added value. To me, it's really the core. So if you, as I say, if you take a law, for example, and you're trying to implement it, and you don't have a value which is guiding you on how you get that done, you can abuse human rights in the process, which means that in the long run, in women's terms, you're basically undermining her ability to really be a part of the process.
Absolutely. And in terms of climate change and women, what areas around the world do you see this being of a particular concern?
The human rights aspect? I was born in North Korea, which is why I think I bring this up so much, because in North Korea at some point you had a society that was functioning more or less under centrally planned economy. You had people who had many kinds of so-called economic rights, but they didn't have human rights to speak. And at the end, what did we see? We saw it crumbling. So in those kinds of political systems, it's clear to me that sustainable development, climate change solutions, if they are imposed, I think they're very short-lived in what they can do.
And I notice you have a PhD in anthropology, so you're an expert in human behaviour and how we all interact. How would building the gender argument in climate change, how would that help us move this whole sort of debate forward and come up with some practical solutions?
Well, I was just attending the World Climate Summit, which is the business parallel event here, and the two things that were very clear is that we're facing a situation of scale, of needing to bring things to scale, and speed. So the point is a lot of things have been done on women and gender and human rights at the local level. Women are coping, they are figuring out the solutions at the local level. But the level of the scale is not where we need it. And the speed at which we need it is not fast enough. So my point is that if you're leaving out half of the world's population, how are you ever going to get there? If you add them to this process with their active participation, with everything that they know on the ground, won't you get it done faster?
Sure, and I guess finally, many of this talk is based in theory more than anything else. What can we practically do? What would you like to see practically done on the ground, either in terms of policy making or the way the treaties are formulated, to bring women more into this sphere?
Well, what are we seeing here at the negotiations? We're seeing women's face to the negotiations. I mean, the executive secretary, the president, and so on. So that's good. That's in place. At the lower levels, we're seeing women who are doing it on the ground. So maybe what we need is middle management. Maybe that middle management is heads of state at this point, at this level. So what I think needs to happen is that we need to build the bridges between those levels. And it's just going to be a matter of time, but it's got to be done very fast.